Hey everyone, Richard from Digital Foundry here, and this is the one you've been waiting for, Destiny 2 on Xbox One X. Patch dropped a couple of days ago, and we've been taking a look at it since then. The man who has done all of the analysis work, Tom Morgan, joins me now.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. So, Destiny 2, give us the headlines here.
The main headline, I guess, if I was to say, wow, you're playing the Xbox One X version, what'd you get? It is a native 4K, so 3840 by 2160 on this enhanced console. A huge jump from, definitely the base consoles, which ran at 1080p, and more specifically, the PS4 Pro version, which runs with a checkerboarded 4K and a dynamic scaler on top of that.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because, we've been desperately trying to break this game to get some kind of resolution drop on it, because standard Xbox One version does run at 1080p, but with an adjustable horizontal resolution, which basically changes according to GPU load. So, I was kind of suspecting that maybe that would persist into the Xbox One X code, but that is not the case.
No, that's right. We took a good sort of stress point, which we see on PC as one of the more taxing areas. It's this kind of brightly lit street area, and it's always here that we get some of our biggest frame rate drops. So, logic follows that you take this spot and you try to get some sort of dynamic res drop in effect. But here, and also the big wave-based battle that happens just before, there's nothing to report on in terms of resolution drop, so you do get a very clear image all the way through.
Yeah, this is interesting because obviously Nate Harbaker, the senior technical artist for Bungie, came and visited us the other week, and he wouldn't talk about the Xbox One X version at the time. He did drop a few tidbits though, like that there was less overhead available on the PS4 Pro version of the game compared to the base hardware, which is probably why we see that dynamic resolution scaling there, where you don't see it on the base PlayStation 4. We were kind of curious to see what we would get here, and it's holding up really nicely overall, I think.
We're pitting it against the PC version. It is running on a 1080 Ti, which gets us 4K, 60 FPS, and we're running at max settings. But yeah, you're right, it is a match for image quality. At least you're getting the same precision of image quality across small detail. The one small change I've noticed, and I think we've run through the images together and kind of agreed on this, is there's a difference in anti-aliasing. On the PC side we've got SMAA running, while on the other hand Xbox One X seems to have a slightly softer look that comes closer to what we'd expect of FXAA.
Yeah, and I think that is persistent across all versions of the game, so it's the same on PlayStation 4 Pro. So yeah, I guess we're into the cross-platform comparisons at this point. This is the PC version running completely maxed out, so there are some enhancements here. So yeah, you're not getting the complete package on Xbox One X, that is reserved for PC. So what is missing here?
So in summary, PC had a bunch of advantages already over PS4 Pro, but since PS4 Pro and Xbox One X have the same settings, the same kind of disparity holds up between PC and Xbox One X. So you're missing out on things like 3D ambient occlusion, the top texture filtering quality as well. That's running at 16 times anisotropic filtering on PC, but we're getting something a bit lower on Xbox One X here. And this show, of course, shows the shadow quality doesn't match up to what we get on a maxed out PC version. Is just a lot of dithering on Xbox One X's outlines to the shadow, much like PS4 Pro. That and a bunch of other things, depth of field, resolution quality on PC can be pushed much higher, but at a huge cost to performance. And so I've dropped it to about high on PC here, but the point still stands, it is a higher resolution pass on PC than what you get on Xbox One X. And lastly, there are level of detail settings which favour PC by quite a stretch when you run across a big area like this.
So if you've got your ultra spec GTX 1080 Ti PC, Xbox One X isn't going to deliver that experience. It is literally a resolution upscale on the existing console experience, which I think by and large does offer, basically the lion's share of the visual experience.
I think so, and bear in mind, PC has access to, 60 frames per second, which was never really on the cards with the Xbox One X version, so they had to pump it all into the resolution side. Our interview with Bungie we kind of highlighted the fact that the game logic on console is a very important thing in terms of the way it refreshes. You know, a 30 frames per second update is kind of crucial and had to be instated across all formats. For parity between Xbox One X and the original Xbox One, you had to have 30 FPS. No chance for an upgrade there, which is a shame considering how smooth it looks on PC maxed out.
Yeah, it's definitely still the best experience on PC in my opinion, but at the same time, this is more than just a 4 times resolution upgrade over base Xbox One. Without the dynamic scaling in effect, we are getting enhanced scaling beyond that, which I find quite interesting. But moving on, let's talk about the comparison with PlayStation 4 Pro, because looking back, the checkerboarding solution offered a pretty substantial upgrade over standard 1080p on the base Xbox One. However, now when we stack up checkerboarding versus native, well, it doesn't hold up quite so well, right?
No, there are a few obvious points which you'd use to compare this. You know, fine detail like grass. Let's zoom in on this shot here and you'll see exactly what I mean. There's an obvious blurriness to the PS4 Pro's checkerboarded 4K when you go this close, and it really shows the benefits of a true native 4K on the X console. Fine detail like staircases and meshes and, you know, areas where you'd see pixel crawl. It is a much sharper look on Xbox One X generally, and it kind of gives us a rare example on console between the two enhanced consoles of a checkerboarded versus a proper 4K implementation.
Well, I think you just get a kind of more pristine edge to the Xbox One X version, but at the same time, given the choice between the base PlayStation 4 and the Pro, I'll take the Pro every time. So we've kind of like got 3 steps in my opinion. We've got the standard 1080p, we've got the checkerboard 4K, which I still think looks pretty good in action, but yeah, you just get that extra little edge on the Xbox One X that you get from native rendering. So yeah, that's turned out pretty nicely, I think, overall.
In general, I'm still kind of wowed by the fact it is 4K and without drops as well. Just going to jump back to some frame rate footage here. And yeah, you know, despite some frame pacing issues here and there, it is actually a very good turnout. You know, we did stress tests in all the usual areas in the opening mission, and nothing to report on in terms of drops. So it's a good showing so far.
Yeah, interesting one. This is our now Bungie approved stress test footage, where basically they pile on the entities, they pile on the visual effects, they pile on the post-processing. I mean, there's a ton going on here, and the Xbox One X, in line with the other versions, is holding up really, really nicely here. So you are getting this upgrade without any kind of penalty, really. I mean, it is essentially the same experience as the existing console versions, just with that huge resolution bump.
It begs the question though, what's going on behind the scenes above this line if there wasn't a 30 FPS cap? As I understand it during our interview with Bungie, we know PS4 Pro was the one which was strained more in hitting top resolutions and being running with enhanced settings, but we don't know exactly how much of a challenge this was for Xbox One X to hit this target and still hold 30 FPS. How much of an overhead are we looking at here?
Well, that's the thing about 30 FPS caps, you never quite know how much overhead is being built into the experience, and well, that's why they implemented dynamic resolution scaling, but we only seem to be seeing it on the Xbox One and the Pro versions, so that gives some indication of which consoles hold up better than the others.
Cool, I think that about wraps it up.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, fascinating one, this one. Oh, one thing to bear in mind as well is that PlayStation 4 Pro and the X both get the HDR mode that was previously exclusive to the PC version of the game. That has now been implemented across all versions of the game, which is a nice bonus.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we've got this video running at 4K, so if you did want to see the source file to this, feel free to drop by our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net, and yeah, it'll look great on your 4K set. In the meantime, thanks a lot, Rich.
No problem.
And until next time, thanks for watching.